Let's break down the process for employment-based immigration in the U.S. If you have an approved I-140 and you're waiting for your priority date to become current, there are a few different scenarios to consider depending on your situation. If you're already in the United States, then there's two possibilities. Number one is you filed your green card, your I-45, when your priority date was current. Scenario number two is that you're waiting to file your I-45, which is typically the case for most people in this situation, especially now that the visa bulletin has retrogressed significantly. It's important to note that if you plan to adjust your status through the I-140 approval, you need to be in a valid non-immigrant status when you file your I-45. That's your green card application. This means that while you're waiting for your priority date to become current, you must maintain a valid non-immigrant status. Remember, the I-140 approval itself does not give you any immigration status in the United States. For people in a valid J1 or F1, it's usually not a problem to get a new DS 2019 or a new I-20 after you file an I-140. However, if you need to apply for a new F1 or J1 visa at the consulate, there may be potential complications. It's super important to understand the distinction between extending your current status versus obtaining a new visa. It's also worth mentioning that a lot of people that are here on a pending asylum or TPS are also considering employment-based immigration options. And while this may be a viable alternative, it is critical to remember that if you're filing an I-45 based on an approved I-140, that you do so from valid non-immigrant status. This is like a very obscure rule, and even the most experienced attorneys get this wrong all the time. Now, if you're one of those lucky people that filed an I-45 when your priority date was current, then you don't need to worry about maintaining a valid non-immigrant status. When you file an I-45, you're considered to be in the United States legally, and you don't need an underlying valid non-immigrant status. When you file your I-45, you can get a work permit and even a travel document, even though those are taking really long. And these can be extended indefinitely while your I-45 is pending, and you don't have to pay the fee again. You got to think about the visa bulletin too, and which chart, because there's two charts on the visa bulletin, and which chart USCIS is using that month. The determination of which chart only pertains to the filing of the I-45. The approval is based on the final action chart. Sounds super confusing, right? I mean, I get confused over this stuff all the time. Now, one alternative to this mess is doing your immigrant visa process through the National Visa Center. Even if you're in the United States with a valid non-immigrant status, you can still pursue consular process through the National Visa Center. I hope this clears up some confusion and gives you a little bit of a better understanding of the employment-based immigration process. If you have any questions, just let me know.